Welcome to the Affection Unbound. Subscribe for more heart-pounding tales of love, betrayal, and unbreakable bonds. What if the man you built your life with, the one who promised forever under the Seattle stars, was hiding a shadow life that could shatter everything? Imagine scrolling through your phone late at night, heart racing, uncovering a single message that unravels years of trust. Meet me at the usual spot, can't wait to feel your hands again. Sent from his number, but not to you. Would you ignore it, confront him, or dive deeper into the darkness? In this gripping true story, one woman's ordinary evening turns into a nightmare of secrets, lies, and a chase across cities that exposes a double life you won't see coming. From stolen glances at a corporate gala to midnight stakeouts in rainy Chicago streets, every twist pulls you in further. But what happens when she discovers the truth isn't just an affair, it's something far more dangerous? Stay hooked till the end to find out if love survives the storm or if revenge becomes her only escape. You won't believe how it all unfolds. Click, play, and hold on tight. It was a crisp autumn evening in Manhattan, the kind where the city lights flicker like distant promises. And I remember checking my watch at exactly 7:42 p.m. My husband, Ethan, had insisted I join him at his firm's annual gala at the Plaza Hotel. "It'll be fun, Laura," he'd said that morning over coffee in our Brooklyn apartment, flashing that easy smile that used to make my knees weak. We'd been married 8 years, high school sweethearts from small-town Ohio, who chased dreams to the Big Apple. He was climbing the ladder at a tech startup, always buried in code and meetings, while I managed a cozy bookstore in Park Slope. Lately, though, things felt off: late nights at the office, vague explanations, a new cologne I didn't recognize, but I pushed it down. Marriage has its ebbs, right? At the gala, the ballroom buzzed with laughter and clinking glasses. Ethan looked sharp in his tailored suit, introducing me to colleagues with a casual arm around my waist. "This is Laura, my better half," he'd say, but his eyes darted elsewhere. Then she appeared, Victoria, his new project manager. Tall, poised, with a laugh like wind chimes. They shared stories about that crazy deadline in Boston, inside jokes I wasn't part of. I smiled politely, sipping champagne, but my stomach twisted when I saw her hand linger on his arm a second too long. By 9:15, Ethan excused himself for a quick call, vanishing into the crowd. I wandered the edges of the room, feeling like an extra in someone else's movie. An hour later, still no sign of him. I texted, "Where are you?" No reply. Panic bubbled up, but I told myself it was nothing. Finally, around 10:30, he reappeared, cheeks flushed, tie slightly askew. "Sorry, babe, got caught up networking." We left soon after, hailing a cab back to Brooklyn in silence. That night, as he slept soundly beside me, I couldn't shake the unease. His phone buzzed on the nightstand once, twice. I glanced over. The screen lit up with a notification from an unknown number. Tonight was electric, same time tomorrow. My heart stopped. I didn't wake him. Instead, I slipped out of bed, grabbed my laptop, and started digging. The next morning, over breakfast, Ethan acted normal, kissing my forehead before heading to work. But I called in sick to the bookstore and spent the day unraveling threads. First, his email. We shared an old account for bills. Nothing obvious, but a confirmation for a flight to Chicago 2 weeks ago, one he claimed was canceled. Then his credit card statements, charges at a boutique hotel there, dinners for two, a jewelry store purchase I never received. My mind raced. Was this real? I remembered a story from a friend about hiring a private investigator for peace of mind. Desperate, I searched online and found one in Queens. A no-nonsense guy named Marcus with glowing reviews. We met that afternoon in a dingy coffee shop off the subway. "Sounds like classic signs," he said, scribbling notes. "I'll tail him for a week. Get photos, logs. But brace yourself, truth hurts." I handed over the deposit, feeling a mix of guilt and resolve. That evening, Ethan came home late again, mumbling about a bug in the system. We ate takeout Thai on the couch, watching some mindless show. But I studied him the way he avoided my eyes, how his phone stayed face down. "Everything okay at work?" I asked casually. "Yeah, just busy," he replied, too quick. As he showered, I checked his jacket pocket on a whim. There it was, a crumpled receipt from a Chicago bar, dated during his canceled trip, with a handwritten note on the back. "V until next time. V for Victoria." My hands shook. I snapped a photo and shoved it back. Sleep evaded me that night. Instead, I lay awake, piecing together the puzzle. How long had this been going on? Was it just her, or something more? Marcus called 3 days later. Got something? Meet me at the park bench near your place. I rushed over, heart pounding. He handed me a folder. Photos of Ethan and Victoria at a cozy cafe in Midtown. Heads close, her hand on his knee. Another set from yesterday, them entering a high-rise apartment building in Chelsea, his arm around her. It's hers, Marcus said. Rented under her name, but he's been there multiple times this month. Then the kicker. Bank transfers from Ethan's account to an unfamiliar one. Small but regular. Looks like he's funding something, maybe her lifestyle, or worse. I felt sick, the world tilting. This wasn't just an affair. It was a secret life. Tears stung my eyes as I thanked Marcus and headed home. Ethan was due back soon. I hid the folder in my desk drawer, mind spinning with questions. Confront him now. Wait for more proof. But deep down, I knew I couldn't ignore it anymore. That night, as he walked in, I forced a smile. How was your day? Little did he know, the storm was brewing. Over the weekend, we drove upstate to the Catskills for what was supposed to be a romantic getaway, his idea. Oddly insistent. The leaves were turning fiery reds and oranges, and we hiked trails near a quaint cabin we'd rented. He held my hand, talked about future plans, like buying a house, starting a family. It felt genuine, almost enough to make me doubt myself. But on the drive back Sunday evening, his phone rang. Victoria's name flashed on the car screen before he silenced it. Wrong number, he muttered. My blood boiled, but I stayed calm. Back in Brooklyn, while he unpacked, I slipped away to call Marcus again. Dig deeper on those transfers. 2 days later, Marcus delivered the bomb. The account belongs to a shell company in Illinois. Ethan's been siphoning funds from his firm, small amounts, but it adds up. Victoria's involved. She's the one signing off on invoices. Looks like embezzlement to cover personal expenses, trips, gifts, maybe even that apartment. My world shattered. This wasn't just betrayal, it was criminal. Ethan, the man I trusted with my heart, was risking everything for her. I confronted him that night in our living room, folder in hand. What's this, Ethan? His face drained of color as he flipped through the photos. Laura, I can explain, but the lies poured out. It's not what it looks like. She's just a friend. I didn't buy it, and the money. The trips. He crumpled, admitting the affair but swearing the funds were loans. I love you, not her. It's over. But I saw the panic in his eyes, not for us, for himself. I didn't scream. I didn't throw the folder at him. I just stared until he looked away first. That was the moment Ethan realized the quiet wife he'd been lying to 4 months had become someone he didn't recognize. You have until tomorrow morning to tell me everything, I said, voice flat. Every dollar, every night, every lie. Or I walk out that door and straight to the police with what I have. He tried to touch me. I stepped back like his hand was poison. He spent the next 4 hours on the couch, head in his hands, spilling it all while I recorded on my phone hidden in my sweater pocket. It was worse than I thought. 6 months earlier, the startup had landed a huge Series B round. Ethan and Victoria were put in charge of vendor payments. Instead of paying real invoices, they created fake ones. Routed the money through her cousin's shell company in Chicago, then split the cash. Almost $280,000 so far. They used it for weekend trips to Miami, a leased silver Audi she drove. The Chelsea apartment I now knew every inch of from Marcus's photos. The affair started as drinks after late nights, turned physical the first time in that same Chicago hotel the night he told me his flight was delayed by weather. He swore he was ending it. That he'd already started paying the money back from his bonus. That he loved me, always had. And this was just a stupid midlife spiral. I almost laughed. Midlife at 34. Right. I told him to sleep in the guest room. Then I called Marcus back and paid him triple to keep digging overnight. By 6 a.m. he sent me the final piece, an email thread between Ethan and Victoria timestamped 2 nights ago. She was pregnant. 8 weeks. And she wasn't asking him to leave me. She was demanding he speed up the embezzlement so they could disappear to Austin before the auditors came in December. That was it. The last shard of hope I'd been clinging to turned to dust. I waited until Ethan left for the office, kissing the air beside my cheek like a coward, and then I moved like a woman possessed. I photographed every document, every transfer, every obscene text. I boxed my clothes, my books, the framed photo of us at Coney Island I couldn't stand to look at anymore. I left the wedding album on the kitchen counter, like evidence. At 10:17 a.m., I walked into the Midtown headquarters of his firm. Asked for the CFO by name. Marcus had given me the org chart, and handed over a USB drive with everything. I didn't cry. I didn't threaten. I just said, "Your VP of engineering is stealing from you, and I'm the idiot who married him. Do what you need to do." By noon, Ethan was in an NYPD interrogation room. Victoria lawyered up the second detectives knocked on her Chelsea door. The company froze all accounts, called in forensic accountants. The news broke on TechCrunch by 4 p.m. NYC startup, rocked by embezzlement. Scandal involving senior exec and alleged mistress. Ethan called me 47 times from a holding cell. I let everyone go to voicemail. The last message was just breathing, and then, "Laura, please. I'm so sorry." I deleted it without listening to the rest. 3 weeks later, the divorce was filed. I took nothing but what ID brought into the marriage, and half our savings money he hadn't had time to steal. He took a plea, 2 years in federal prison, full restitution. Victoria lost the baby in the stress of the arrest. I won't pretend that didn't hurt to hear, even after everything. I moved to Seattle, new city, new coast, new life. Opened a tiny secondhand bookstore near Pike Place that smells like coffee and old pages. Some nights I still wake up reaching for a body that isn't there, but the panic fades faster every time. Last month, a regular customer left a note in a returned book. "You have kind eyes. Coffee, sometime." His name is Daniel. He builds boats for a living and laughs like he means it. I said yes. Ethan writes letters from Otisville. I return them unopened. Some stories aren't meant for redemption arcs. They're just cautionary tales you survive. So if you're listening to this on a late-night drive, wondering if the person next to you is hiding a double life, trust the knot in your stomach. Trust it, follow it, and never apologize for choosing yourself when they stop choosing you. Because the other side of betrayal isn't always revenge. Sometimes it's sunrise over Puget Sound and the quiet knowledge that you saved yourself before the whole house burned down.